Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Laura Rogers and this is live SharePoint Power Hour. This is a show I try to do it every single Wednesday at 11 Central. Been doing it for 2 or 3 years now, maybe 4 years. And this show is all about what we can do out of the box in SharePoint without having to write code and without having to do anything super technical. And we've been doing a ton in Office 365. Office 365, with all of its fast changes, keeps this show really interesting, and we always have new things to show. At this point, I could pretty much almost do the show every week on just the new stuff that they've rolled out in Office 365 because it's just constant. So I am a SharePoint trainer. My training company is iwmentor.com. You can see the little logo. And I'm also a consultant. So I'm immersed in SharePoint all day, every day, working on projects. So so I've got this sort of firsthand experience of how the businesses are using SharePoint and sort of the best practices and those types of things with my 12 years or so, or SharePoint experience. I think it's been at least 10 years. Yeah. All right. Well, hi everybody. Welcome. We have this chat window where we use Slack to chat and ask questions live during the show. So that in the description of this YouTube video, it's got the link to join that. And I encourage you to jump in and go to the Power Hour channel in there and say hello. And that's where we have our discussion during Power Hour, where you can ask me questions and talk about what we're doing. And today we're going to be talking about the new communication sites that have rolled out in Office 365. They're lovely. And I'm going to go ahead and get started and share my screen. Okay, here's my communication site, but before I dig into that, I'll show you how I turned it on. And I got this tip from Mark Anderson. He tweeted about this the other day. If you do have your own tenant or your own test tenant, or you're in charge of your tenant, you can go to your organization profile screen here and go to your release preference. Now, I already had it set to first release for everyone. But when I changed it to first release for selected users, and that gave me the ability to put just myself or just me and a couple of people, and I put Joelle in here too, to be able to be the selected users. And so apparently when you put yourself as the selected users, then that gives you the brand new stuff, even though you would think that just putting first release for everyone would give everyone the brand new stuff. But so that's the tip for how I did this. And then after I did this, how did I create my communication site? I went to the waffle menu and chose SharePoint here. And then once you're here, you click Create Site. And this is where if you have communication sites in your tenant, this is where you'll have the option to be able to choose a communication site. You've also got a few options, so take a look at this screen when you're creating your communication site so you can see what some of the options are. You actually have some sort of templates that it gives you. So you have topic and showcase, and it gives you a little preview of what it's going to look like here, or blank, where you can just start from scratch. From what I can tell, what it really does, the difference between topic and showcase is really just that out of the box, what it's called the hero web part that it puts on the home page. That is going to just have a different setting in it, basically, if you choose that, that option. So I'll go ahead, and so I created the site. You type the site name and description just like with any other site and click finish, and then it actually creates a site collection for you. So, and Joelle and I have been working on this. Joelle, everyone, is my coworker. She's here in the chat window. I think she said hi a minute ago. There she is. And she and I have been in here putting a bunch of fake test, just content in here to be able to demo all the different new functionality to you. So not only do we have this new communication site that's got a really awesome hero web part that makes it that's the coolest thing about it. We also have new web parts that just came out. I need to add those to my blog post about all of the out of the box modern web parts. So we'll be showing you those too as we're demoing this site, and I'll also just go to a regular modern page that's not a communication site and show you that those other web parts have appeared there. All right, so when you create your communication site, you have it puts this here's your home page, and you automatically have a modern home page for your site. You have the new button that you've also got in other modern sites. You've got some basic navigation, to a library that already exists, pages, site contents. This edit button it's confusing that it looks a little weird right here, but that's just for me to be able to edit the navigation. It's when I click edit it edits navigation, so that's not the same as the button to edit the page. So first thing, of course, the first thing I always want to do is go into the edit to edit this page. So I'm editing this whole web page now, and you can see that this web part that I see here is the hero web part. Now this web part's interesting because it has all these little edit, whenever you hover over these little parts of the web part, these little edit buttons. But what you want to do to be able to edit the whole web part and its settings for the whole web part is you go to this little edit button over here. So that's really just got a couple of settings. It's got, do you want tiles or layers? Tiles gives you can see 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3, 4, 5, and it gives you 5 by default. And then layers, that's the other option. So what it looks like is that was the other option when I was clicking to create the new communication site, the option that said showcase. That looks like that's what this is right here. So the layer is going to be basically the height kind of how many sort of rows that you're going to have in your web part. So when I choose 2 layers, you can see now it's got another layer down here, 3, 4. When I go 5, then I can scroll, scroll, scroll. So it alternates them back and forth for my layers in that web part. So I'll put it back to tiles for now, and just kind of work in here a little bit more and show you what all these different settings are. Thanks, Joelle. Joelle put a link to use the hero web part. And out of the box, when you create this, this site, the links in this web part, just the out of the box links, take you to these help pages, like how to use the hero web part. So it's really nice of them to make it really super easy and obvious to put those help pages right there in the web part settings for you. So of course, so these settings are pretty basic right here for the whole web part. But then once you put the web part on the page, that's where you are going to be able to go edit with the little edit icon, all the different little tiles here. So what do you want to do with your tiles? First of all, do you want your tiles to be navigation to get to other sites? Do you want your tiles to be highlighting different news articles that you want to point people to? Do you want the tiles to just list kind of different departments in your company? Or, just sort of some of those main introductory things that you want to show people when they arrive at your site. So that's one of those things to decide. And also, one of the big challenges that I see, you guys let me know what you think about this, is just the images themselves. In my experience, my customers don't tend to have a lot of very pretty, nice looking, professional looking images to put on a home page. I mean, you can see maybe every now and then a couple things somebody snapped with their cell phone or some cheesy little animated GIF, but that, to me, that's one of the biggest challenges that I've seen, is them having the images in the first place and knowing kind of the best way to highlight those images on the home page, the resolution. Can you imagine how bad this would be if you had a bunch of images that had that were, that had a really low resolution and were all kind of grainy and ugly. So part of it's on you, part of it's on your customers, the people using SharePoint, to have the nice images to highlight in the first place here. So I'll go just hit this edit button here. So I can see this little, I'll copy this shortcut here. Like I said, these links, it's probably the same one Joelle just posted in the chat window. This link is what is a SharePoint communication site. So again, all these links are going to take you to help information. So that's for me to decide though, what do I want to change the link to? So I can click change here, and they have this nice little screen that gives me all these options to pick from. So gone are the days where we had just a blank URL box where we just had to go figure out what the URL was and go paste it in there, because believe it or not, that's pretty complicated for a lot of just typical business users, right? So now when you click to change the URL, you're actually prompted to, you can go pick some things, and you can go pick like a specific file from your site, from the library, or you can go to your OneDrive, and this is going to have a whole bunch of OneDrive folders. This is just my own OneDrive, and you can pick this site. So within this site, I can go, pick something from the document library like that, as opposed to just the ones that are recent. And then if I upload a file, I can do that. So what do I want? Do I want to put a link to something I'm uploading? Or this is the good old just paste a link to something and it'll take people there. So what I think would be nice would be if it gave me a prompt to put a link to one of my pages, right? I would think that that would be something that would be obvious that you would want to have here. So maybe Microsoft could add that, or hopefully they'll add that later. But what I want to do is, well, for now, I'll just pick one of my documents. I'll just say purchasing guidelines. So now it's just created a URL, a link to that document. And then do I want to show the title and layout? So the title here is what is the verbiage that I want to see in the tile. And I can even choose to not show the title. So if my image itself has the verbiage, so maybe I created a nice image from scratch and I put the verbiage for what I want, what I want it to link to, and I created the text just in the image, then maybe I don't want to show text on top of that image. So that's up to me. So that's a good option to have. And then for the image, I can do auto selected. So this is putting just a random picture, and it says people in a casual meeting. So I kind of like that. So that kind of takes care of just this not having pictures to choose from, not having your own pictures. So this is going to be really helpful if you want to just be able to quickly whip one of these up and maybe let the business choose their pictures later or something like that, but at least have some sort of nice looking image that shows here. Nice generic image. That's a good question, Rachel. I'm actually going to go try that in a second. She said, what happens if we choose our OneDrive? Is it going to, I wonder if it's going to move my OneDrive file to this site, or if it's going to change the permissions of the file so people are pointing to the file where it is. So let's go, we'll try that out. So I have a couple of options. I can do auto selected, do my custom image. When I do my custom image, this is where I can change it. And I'll go through a couple of these and change them in a second. But this is where let's see, it's like it changed the text color. Isn't that interesting? Oh, I can also drag these around. So if I want to rearrange them, I don't even have to click on this little icon here. I can just drag them manually around within the web part. So that's really, really nice. Carolyn says, where does the auto select pull from? That's a great question too. We'll check that out. All right, and then it's got this options thing, and it says call to action text. So this is where the learn more comes in to play. So this is what do you want the little button to say that they click on to go to the link that they're going to go to up here, this link. So that's, let's see, read about it. like that. Okay, so now, and you don't even necessarily have to hit save in these web part settings. You just close the web part setting and you're done. All right, so let's go to another one of these, and we're going to try all these different questions that you guys have. So I'm going to click change to change this link. This one is, first of all, I'll show you real quick for the image. This says auto selected, but I could also do color only. So the color only is nice because it makes it so that it's just whatever your color of your theme of your site, just like your just your regular old page theme, change the look. That is the color that's going to show here. It'd be nice, I think, if you could actually change the colors and give them all different colors if you wanted to. But that's where it's getting the color. It's just getting the color from my theme. Okay, so let's go look at changing this and what happens when I pick a OneDrive item. So I'm going to go to this is my test account OneDrive. Let's see, I don't even know what I have in here. There we go, just some spreadsheet from last year. This item is from your OneDrive site. Files and folders in OneDrive are private unless you share them. Have you shared this file with your site members so they can access it? So it's prompting you. So it's not going to move the file over to your communication site. It's just going to ask you if you've given people access to it. So I can see definitely a lot of room for people screwing this up. I don't know about you. Let me know what you guys think about that. But you're just going to take their word for it. The person's just going to say yes or no, and it's up to that person to go change the sharing settings on that OneDrive file to make sure that everybody that can access this communication site can also access the file. So I'll go ahead and just click yes for fun. So now it's just pointing them to my OneDrive. So it's not moving the file over to the site. So that's good. In one way, that's good because you're not having to have copies of the same file floating around in all different places of the exact same file. But yeah, what I would really want to do, like the best practice here is going to be, and I'll just do a demonstration of what the best practice would be. I'm going to go to my OneDrive first, and I'm going to go to what was shared with everyone, I think. I'm going to go to this file, and then I'm going to move it. Now remember, moving it doesn't have as many awesome options as copying it. So if I want to take this file and I want it to be in my communication site, I want people to click on it, the best practice is not going to be just to leave it in my OneDrive, because that seems to me kind of messy. So I can copy it over to, and I can pick my communication site and actually copy it to this site. And then after I make a copy of it, what I really want to do is move it. But like I said, moving doesn't have as many options like to move things to other sites as copying does. So then I would go delete it. So copy it and then delete it since I can't move it. So then in my communication site, that's where I would want to go to wherever I just moved it to. It should be in here. There it is. And that way that's nice and neat, and you're keeping everything like it, and it all makes sense. And then whoever has access to your site will most likely now have access to the file because you moved it. All right, so do I want to show the tile? Sure. And then I can even say hourly like that to make it reflect whatever the title of that spreadsheet is. And then describe this image for people who can't see it. So this is going to be for if someone doesn't have images rendering in their browser, they have issues, reason why they can't see images, then that's your alt text, just your regular image alt text. And then the options thing acts a little weird because like it works okay over in this one here, but in these little ones it doesn't do anything. So maybe, I'm not sure if that's a bug, or maybe these other ones aren't supposed to have this extra button. Maybe that's only for the big one. Um, let's see. So Sandy says, I wonder if the web part would show a blank X or something if a person didn't have permission to it. That would definitely be the case, Sandy, for the image that it's trying to render. So if the image that you're showing here, they don't have access to whatever location the image is in, then that would be the case. That would be like an error message. But for the link, they're actually going to click on the link and be taken to that URL, and then they would get an access denied error. So yeah, that's just something to ponder. Definitely a little bit of training, I think, involved here for users to understand sort of how the content works that you're linking to and how the images work that you want to show here. The easiest thing, again, is going to be to use the images that you have just in that site, and or use do the little upload button. So when I do my image, I go to custom image, change it, and then upload something. So then here's where I have a bunch of logos that I can upload. Like here's a good example of an image. So this is my Power User Full Day Course image. Of course, it's not the same size as the tile. That's another thing to keep in mind. This is a good example of not wanting to show the tile in the layout. So I can go, let's see, I want my Power User link to go to my iwmentor.com Power User class, like that. And then that's where I can change that link, put from a link, and paste that here. So now I've made this so that it actually will take you to another website. I'm going to publish my changes, and then we'll show some of the other cool things besides this hero web part. And we'll go look at that other setting of the hero web part to make it have that different layout. But let's see what happens when I go here. Yeah, and it navigates in a new tab. So that's kind of nice that it does that. So if I'm in the site though, and I open, so this is actually going to open it in Excel. I don't want to do that. I don't want to open it in Excel. So if I'm going to put a link to a specific document or spreadsheet, what I want to do is put the link to it in the browser, most likely, right? I mean, yeah, you can make them open that file up, but probably to me, the cleanest, neatest way is going to be to open it in the browser. So how do we do that? We go to, and I'll just go to this other one because this is probably prettier. See, when I go to one of these files, I just go to it in the browser and then copy that link. And then when I'm on my communication site and I'm editing this, and this is kind of a little tangent, but I'll change that link to, instead of just picking the file from the list of all my files, then I'll put from a link, and it will hopefully take me directly to that file. So yeah, it took me to the Word document. So that's nice. Okay, so let's go into a couple of more things. I've got all these different tabs now open everywhere. Refresh that. Okay, we'll go edit this and go look at what different settings we have when we're editing the whole web part. Again, when you have to hover at the top left of the web part to get to that. We'll go to let it do 5 layers, and we'll see what the settings look like when we're doing the 5 layers. So the options here are a little bit different. So here's just the information about the link. Where are we linking to? And same thing as before. Then we have the title, and we have this big long description. So I have all this nice little fake lorem ipsum content I can put here. And that is what's going to show in this web part. That's kind of ugly, of course. And it's probably too much. You would think it would sort of know to truncate it, but maybe not. So I'm going to want to just know to change that myself to put a little bit less text. And then I can do a custom image or auto selected just like before. And then the alt text. And my options here are very different in this rendering this layout of this hero web part. Show topic heading, yes or no. Topic heading text, I don't have any. Where's that going to show? Oh, that is very pretty. You guys like that? I like that. It looks very nice and professional. So that is my topic heading, so I can choose to show that or not. And then show the call to action link, and that is the one we talked about a minute ago with the cute little arrow next to it. And then I can scroll down my page, and so each one of these sort of layers or rows in my hero web part has all these same settings that I can do, all these exact same settings. So I really like that. Do you think, I mean, that 5 layers, that's kind of a lot of scrolling, but I think it's huge. Of course, my my resolution's increased for this demo, but all right. Okay, so now we're going to move on and go down to some of the other out-of-the-box new web parts that Microsoft includes on here. Let me close this. So I'm still editing the page, and I've got my news web part. So I've got, let's see, now this hasn't changed. I demoed this when the new modern web parts came out, so it's kind of the same as it's been, where you, except that it does have the options to change your layout, but the news itself is you click to add news, and it basically creates new pages in your pages library. Let's see. Someone's asking in the chat window, how do you get to the live one? It's in the general channel in here. I posted the link to it, so you guys help him out, or he or she out. Rachel says, could you add the hero web part twice and have both topic and showcase? Ooh, that's a great question. Let's try that. So also notice that when we're adding things now on this page, it looks a little different. It's got a plus here, which goes all the way across the page, and a plus here, which is sort of inside of like this column. So pay attention to that, because when you click the plus that goes all the way across the page, you're going to have these additional options that I'll talk about in a minute. But let's see, is the hero web part available for me to, yeah. So yeah, I can add that twice. Tiles, so I have this one at the top doing layers, and then one I just added right below it doing tiles. So here's the one I just added that has nothing in it out of the box. Nice. All right. So here, that's where you could go configure your web part. I'm going to go ahead and delete that for now. I think I answered all your questions about, oh, the auto select image. Let's go look at that real quick before I move on. So I'm just going to publish this and go look at this auto select image. Oh, it's got like this test communication. It's got the name of my site slash, oh, that's weird. Let me see. Got a notepad. Gotta hack into this thing and see where that image is. That is, what is that? Let's see. So I right clicked on the, I didn't really right click on the image, did I? Yeah, that's not the image, I don't think. Yeah. So what I'd have to do is like a little hacky kind of dev kind of thing and go see where that image is. Just for fun. Let's see. I still don't know. That is weird. It's in my site somewhere, stored in there. See, MS image cover. You guys see if y'all dig into that and figure that out. That's really interesting. It's like it keeps them in there somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna not waste too much time on that, but it's very weird. Okay. MS image root. Huh. Okay. Closing the dev tool there. All right, so that was the hero web part, and we're going to go down, and then we're looking at the news web part, where just like before, we could add news, which adds more pages to our pages library when we do that. Scroll back down to here. And it's weird because when you're in edit mode on the page, the add thing is grayed out, but when you're viewing the page, not editing it, you can click the add button. So basically just add creates a new page. So when you're adding news and creating a new page, it's really makes it look a lot nicer for your news when you put an image on that new page that you're creating, just using the little image web part. Events. This is brand new, as though news wasn't brand new, but events is. Let me just look at one more thing on news. So the thing that is different about news, like I was starting to mention, was just that you have a layouts now that you can pick from. So you can see top story, list, and side by side. And we'll have to, if we have time, we'll go see if there's a way to rearrange those and basically say which one is the top story. So we have top story, list, and side by side. Nice. Okay, there are several new web parts. Okay, events is awesome. Look at our events web part. This is it's pointing to a calendar. So the site already came with a calendar just out of the box, just a SharePoint calendar. And so you point to which calendar you want to show here. And you can even, we've got a category field, in the calendar, just in the category drop-down box when you're creating an event. So you can even make this web part show just a specific category. So in a date range, all upcoming events, this week, next 2 weeks, this month, this quarter. So I changed it to this quarter. Of course, all these events are happening in this quarter, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'll go out of edit mode and show you what it looks like to add events, because this is really cool looking. Yes, you're right, EE61RE. The new page layouts are on the modern pages. That's what I was mentioning at the very beginning, that a lot of the stuff you're seeing in this communication site are also available in the new modern pages as well. I just don't think that the hero web part is. We'll go look at that last. Right now we're just kind of focusing on what is a communication site and what does it have. So it's got events. If I want to add an event, this is adding an item to a SharePoint calendar. It is very pretty though. So this is, I'll just say my birthday. I was at Disney World on my birthday this year. Date range, and then yeah, it's all day. And this location thing is awesome. Look at this. So you can actually start typing your location, and it will look at actual locations, and it puts a map on there. Oh my goodness, how cool. That is awesome. So I was in Orlando for my birthday. I was at Disney World. Now, if you don't have a location, if it's just an online meeting, you can just put a link right here. And then this is where you pick the category of your meeting. And this is where you can put a bunch of text, just a lot of I'll put that like lorem ipsum stuff here. And this is very pretty the way it has where you can pick people that are attending your meeting and save it. So it's a really nice update to what it looks like to create events. So my event has now been created. It's my birthday. It's got a map. When I go to see all events, it's showing this sort of list of events, but I can also see that these are just stored in a SharePoint calendar. Now, I doubt it, but let's see what happens when I click new event here. No. So if I go straight to the calendar, it's still, and I click new event, it's still just going to give me that classic mode new event thing, which I'm not, that doesn't surprise me. But when you do it from within that events web part, it's really nice looking. All right, so it puts the events on here, puts the news on here, puts the events on here. And then by default, it just puts documents, which is just that out of the box document library that that all sites are going to get. Now, also some of the things that I was poking around in here was, what makes this a communication site? It's got a different template, but, sometimes when it comes to other templates in SharePoint, sometimes I've noticed that the only difference is that it's just got some feature enabled that you technically could go enable in any other site. So I looked through here, I didn't see anything that in site collection features. I didn't see anything in site features here. So there's nothing obvious in here that's going to scream, this is a communication site. Oh, he said, I wonder if we can display overlay calendars and events. Probably not, but I think it's pretty cool that you can at least change because it's not showing as a calendar. So how could you display it as an overlay? It's just displaying it as like a list of events like this. See? And ooh, this is another new touch. Add to my calendar. Oh, finally. What do you guys think of that? Give it a thumbs up. Awesome. I'm giving it a thumbs up myself in the chat window there. All right. So people who are looking at this site can say, hey, I'm interested in this event, and just click add to my calendar, and then it's actually going to open it up in Outlook. Rachel says shut the front door. Yeah. So that's another nice thing to have. So now we're kind of getting, so let's go ahead and go over to the news thing that we were talking about. So as we click to add news, so I'm going to start from the home page first. And I'm going to click to add news and show you, because this is something that I've demoed before when we talked about all the new modern web parts, but I'll do this again. I click add, and so this, when you click to add new news, you're just creating a new page, and this is going to be in the site pages library. So this is going to be what is exciting that's coming up in my life. I don't know. Sweden. So if I just say in September. That's really exciting. Text is not going to look really pretty though. Text is when you're looking at the news roll up. So it's going to be helpful to add an image, or because the image will show in the little news roll up. But I want to point out some other things you can do. So let's see, I'll just go put an image on here. What do I have in my site? It's weird that it shows documents as something you can pick from for images. I'm going to pick something random. I should just go to the SEF website and download the picture on the homepage of the cruise ship that will be in, that this conference takes place in Sweden. It's going to be awesome. So I just picked a picture, which is gigantic. So that's another thing with the end user training is the images and the sizing, because you can't size the image here. There's nothing in the settings to resize the image. It's just going to be a matter of taking care of that before you put it on the page. And also, okay, so let's look at this again. This little plus, when I go to the little plus that spans all the way across, as opposed to the shorter one, that's where I can change my layout here, my layout options. So having 3 columns is actually going to be one way that I can take things and make it kind of look smaller. But look at that. See, now I've got 3 columns that I can add web parts in like that. And so when I go to my home page and I'm looking at the news, now that shows as the nice pretty image, but see it's still just like showing half of it. So it would help. Yeah, cruise ship conference. I'll go promote them a little bit. I never can remember that. See, it is seforum.se. Yes, so I'll be speaking there in September. I'm very excited. But yeah, it's a conference on a cruise ship. All right, so let's see. That was the news. So then how do you make the web part show particular news as the sort of highlighted, because I had like different layouts where you could have like your big one over here on the left and other ones over here on the right. But what it does, it just puts the most recent one as the big one. So we'll go look at our site pages and just see. I've done this in the past. I've kind of already looked through here and kind of tried adding, a bunch of different columns to see if there was a column that did this, and there wasn't at the time. Promoted state. Yeah, there we go. Promoted state, page layout, content. I've got description, authoring. So I've got a good bit of interesting. So promoted state, it's got a number in here. Let me save that. Let's see if I can go edit this. Maybe not. Oh, because it's grouped. If I take the grouping off or go to I'll go to a view that doesn't have grouping, then you can do quick edit. You just can't do quick edit when it's grouped. So let me go add that column again. Promoted state. Apply. I can see that the home page is the only one that doesn't have a promoted state. That's interesting. Now basically the edit and data sheet view button went away when I added that field. Haha. I feel like a hacker now. Like I need to go figure out how to change that. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so we've got like 15 minutes left. So I'm going to show you a couple of the other new web parts that exist in here. And just to double check, I'm going to go to my home page here. And go edit the home page and just kind of compare that really quickly. So I do have my two different pluses, so I can add on any modern page in SharePoint. I can add these section layouts now. And then once I'm in a section, I can add any of these other web parts. But I've got events is a new web part. That's the one we just talked about. People is a new web part. That one I added in here, and I'll show you that one. That one is our team, so I'll show you one that I already put it on. So I go edit this page. I called it our team. So this is going to be the example where you have department sites, and your departments want to put a little bit of information about themselves on their department homepage. Well, this is what I like to do is I like to use the search results web part and make it show people and automatically show people that are in that particular department using the department value from AD. But this one is not that. So it doesn't have any settings. It just has, you can change the name of what it says here and you just add people. So let's see. You got to type slowly too as it resolves those names. All right, so there is, it's just basically going to show their profile picture from AD. It lets you rearrange them and drag them around if you want to, but it doesn't let you do anything else specific with them. So when I publish this, then I can click on Joelle. Ooh, it's not, look how nice that is. It doesn't take you to another window. Awesome. I love that. It just pops it up in a little pop-up box, because I was afraid, I was about to think, oh, it's going to take me all the way to Delve, or it's going to open in a new tab. Well, this is really, I like this. I can just quickly email her, or I hope that's not your real phone number. I think that's fake. And I can see what events what events that you have coming up, and those were the events that she actually just added to this communication site. So it shows those events being associated with her. And let's go look at mine. It's going to show, yeah, these are the things that I just added, and my direct reports, and then I can click this little extra button if I want to go to that person's profile. Nice. So people web part. Okay, so then back on my site that is not a communication site, this one, notice that I do have the hero web part. This is huge. This is also huge. So you guys, what do you think in the chat window? So I put a hero. I did a Giphy for hero in there. Is that Will Ferrell? Okay, so you can put the hero web part on any page. So the next question is, now I don't mean this to sound rude or disrespectful, but why would I create a communication site if I can just put the hero web part on any page? I'm not sure what the answer to that is. Maybe, now my guess is that think about all the new people to SharePoint and all the people that are brand new to Office 365 and SharePoint and are doing this for the first time. And this whole interface, everything is new to them. So when they click to create a new site and they see that we can create this really cool site with all this pretty news going down the front of it, and they think that's what I want, and they click on it, that gives them this whole setup out of the box with the web part, with the pictures and everything like pre-populated for them and all pre-created to show what's possible to make your news look very pretty on your homepage. What do you guys think of that? So I think that's probably, yes, Scott, the new layouts are available on team sites like I just showed, and the hero web part is available on team sites as well. So my guess as to what the point of a communication site is to, oh, you don't have, okay, so yeah, Chris Webb says because you don't have to have a group with a communication site. Yes, Scott, the new column layouts are in my non-communication site. I'll go back over there. See, I just showed that. See, I go little plus button, and then see, here are my little column layouts right here. So yeah, events, hero, news, quick links, actually I think have been updated a little bit. So yeah, all that stuff is in the team sites. Yeah, so you don't have to have a SharePoint group with a communication site. Yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. It's all very interesting as far as adoption and best practices and why and how and when to do certain things. This is just my team site. What I like about the communication site is, look at this. I don't have that big ugly gray area at the top. That is a huge bonus for me. You know what I'm talking about? So like when I go here and I've got this big empty gray thing that takes up half the page that's got my page title. Let's see if I do a new page and it still does that, because I created that a while back. Yeah, it still does it. So my communication site is going to be nice because it doesn't waste all that real estate with the title. So to me, that's like a huge reason to to do that. I still have all my site settings and site permissions, just like a regular site, and so I don't see anything extremely obvious that's jumping out at me as to why, or why I wouldn't want to create a communication site if I like them, because they don't have the big ugly gray spot at the top, the gray empty spot at the top. The communication site has search at the top right, and a regular site, let me go back to my home page of my regular non-communication site, has search at the top left. Oh, this is exhausting. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what the results look like. Show more results. This is the modern search results thing. Now, we've added a lot of this content just fairly recently, so it might not have been indexed by search yet. So let's see. I've got one called... Yeah, so I like the fact that it's got the search box up at the top right. Let's go look at the, you guys were asking about the colors. Remind me if there's anything else you were asking about that that I need to go over. Andy says my communication doesn't have all apps like lists and libraries enabled by default. Oh, that's a huge one too. So I'll show you what Andy's talking about. So change the look is not any different than it's ever been. I'll go see what my site looks like with this dark background. Try it out. Now, those are all the same, but again, those can be customized. I use the SharePoint color palette tool. I've heard that it's not even available anymore, but that one's really nice to have, to be able to make your own little custom template, one of those templates. Okay, so let's go look at what Andy's talking about. So if I'm on my communication site and I want to create like a new list or library, so what would I do? I would go new and choose, if I do new list, it'll just be a custom list. Click cancel. If I do new document library, I can do that. But what if I do new app? What's going to be available? It's got a few things. It doesn't have everything. So what is he talking about when he says that he can't create the lists and libraries? So there is a feature. It's a site collection feature. I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's called, no, I think it's a site feature. Let me go back. If you want to have all those other templates for your lists and libraries, it is, oh yeah, team collaboration lists right here. Provides team collaboration capabilities for a site, blah, 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 blah. So when I enable team collaboration lists, then when I go to create something new and I choose app, yeah, then we've got a lot more, don't we? So that was what it was missing. And out of the box, those good old, remember the old publishing sites, SharePoint publishing sites? Out of the box, the publishing sites didn't have that enabled either. So that's just one of those things, a little extraneous things to remember to do when you're, when you need to have those different types of lists and libraries in your site. All right, let's see. A lot of little weird sort of random nuance things that I'm seeing that will be the difference between why you'd create a communication site or a team site. And so it's going to make this sort of best practices really interesting. Rachel says, does the news from communication sites show up in the same way in the news from sites feeds? Let's go look. Most likely. Yes, it does. Is that what you're referring to, Rachel? So when I go to the waffle menu and choose SharePoint, this is going to show the news from all the sites that I'm following. So it's just going to show the last 3 recent ones, but I can click see all. And now it's going to show me all the news from all the sites I'm following. And I can even search news right here. And it immediately just prompts me with things that I can pick from. But like if I start typing conference, it will prompt me with that. So yeah, so it takes me straight to that news page. So also in the SharePoint app, we're going to see that as well. So hopefully, and it looks like it's encouraging everyone to install the app, because you notice down here at the bottom, right there on the home page, it says get the mobile app on my communication site. Does it do that on my regular site? No, doesn't look like it does. So, I think it's got a good improvement. I think you can also go, let's go see what we can do with the navigation though. Hold on a second. So what if we do want to have our left navigation? Usually that's a setting that we see in our theme, in our change the look. It looks like it's on Seattle. If I put it on Oslo, it takes away the left nav. That's kind of always been, that's been there since SharePoint 2013 came out. But let's see. I doubt that's going to make a difference. Oh, Andy says when I created a new subsite from the communication site, it used the old team site, not the new modern team site. Oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. That's no fun. Yeah, I think that the team sites, they haven't made it so that you can, that the team sites don't have the modern stuff as the default yet. So like here, I'll go do the same thing you just said you did, and I'll go pick subsite. Team site, blog, or project site. Document Center, Record Center, Basic Search Center. So it doesn't give me a communication site to create as a subsite. That's very interesting, right? So maybe the purpose of the communication, so of course the communication site only exists as a new site collection. So remember when we had that concept of the community sites that came out in SharePoint 2013 and the community portal, and the whole purpose of the community portal was to just roll up stuff from the community sites? Well, I don't know, maybe the idea behind a communication site is really just for it to be one layer, and for it to be that top level and have news and information about your department or whatever it is, and then your sub-sites are really going to be where you start doing your collaboration, having your team sites and sharing documents and like that more informal collaboration, free-form collaboration. Yeah, no such thing as a sub-site communication site yet. Also, let's go look at, let's play with Power BI here. I'm just going to try one more thing. We've got 1 minute left, and this probably won't work, but when I create a new site collection from here, does it give me a communication site to choose from? I don't see it. This is why it's going to be sort of tricky to find for some people, because this is the way you're used to creating team sites, at least for us old school people. All right, well, that wraps it up. We went over new communication sites, all the new web parts on the communication sites, all the settings for the new Hero web part, and thanks you guys for all the interesting questions and helping me kind of think about all the factors involved and what's missing, and comparing communication sites to team sites and what you can do and can't do, and all the little sort of nuanced things that we're finding as we explore these sites. So you guys try and see if you can go into your tenant or get a test tenant and go put yourself in that first release so you can try these out. And I'm really looking forward to getting these in production, though, with my customers on their home pages. So next week, Joelle's going to be doing her second post, her second Power Hour on her Manage Metadata Power Hour series. So look forward to seeing you next week for that. And over and out. Thanks, everybody, for coming.